Hey guys, Cody with CJC Off-Road, and today is going to be the second installment video on my 3rd gen Ram. I guess this is technically our 3rd video. My plan was to get the suspension done, go ahead and go with some of our lighting options that we offered, go with a more modern head unit CarPlay. However, fate had a little bit different of a plan for me. After we finished the last video, we parked it in the warehouse. I came in the next day, got a ride with Cole to work, and was gonna drive my 3rd gen home. Went out in the warehouse, and underneath this truck was not only a huge puddle of ATF, but also a very large puddle of oil. Now, I did start to notice it when we were doing the installation of the suspension system, but I thought, maybe there was a loose filter or something stupid like that from the dealer doing service. Went through all the basic diagnostics. As it turned out, the oil pan had a leak. That's a pretty simple fix. Obviously, we could have resealed that. However, the oil leak on the actual engine was the rear main seal. Now, for a long time, I had plans of getting a little bit of tuning in the truck, getting a trans, nothing crazy, is maybe thinking of possibly doing a slightly oversized turbo in the future, but nothing really crazy, no drag strip level modifications, things like that, just something to add a little bit more drivability. However, this did kind of shake up my plan. Since we were gonna be pulling the transmission, I thought, what better time to change the transmission? So, extreme thank you to the guys at Randy's Transmission. So we went with the Stage 2 Randy's Transmission. Again, the reason I went with the Stage 2 is because I don't plan on drag racing or anything like that. And they did actually throw in some very cool upgrades for me, including a brand new transmission fluid cooler that they had just released. This thing is absolutely massive, and I cannot wait to show it to you guys. As mentioned, my performance plans are pretty basic. I just want a very fun around town setup. I'd planned on doing an EasyLink setup, the 5-position switch from NRE Performance, and then some kind of transmission and a few under the hood mods. Banks Power came to the rescue and set me up with their full intercooler, piping, and elbow system, along with their cold air intake. That paired up with this transmission and some good tuning should make for a lot of fun around town while making sure my temperatures never spike, no matter how silly I want to get with the truck on the weekends. Unfortunately, it did suck to take my brand new finished package and put it back on the lift, get it ripped apart. However, as you can see, we're wasting no time. Wyatt is over here helping me get this transmission put in. Pulling these transmissions is fairly simple. If you do have a lift, I do really empathize with you guys who are tackling them in the driveway. However, everyone has to work with what they got, but we were able to get this out pretty quick, get the new transmission in, move on to the underhood piping setup. Again, this trans fluid cooler is absolutely massive, right? Compared to the factory option, there's no comparison. It's gonna come with the nice crimped fit lines as well from Randy's Transmission. So it's a very cool package, bolts in the OEM location, but as you can tell, I don't really need a dyno to show you just how much more cooling is gonna be offered with this new cooler. With my previous 3rd gens, even ones with built transmissions, I still always had to keep an eye on the cooler temperatures. I don't even understand why I never paid attention to putting a bigger or larger transmission cooler on the truck. However, Randy's Transmissions, again, came through with this very complete package. It's gonna work very well. So while I don't really have a whole lot of towing plans with this truck, hitting grades, still long road trips, things like that, I can't wait to check it out and just watch these temperatures not spike like they would have on some of my previous builds. I really did not want to get this deep into the truck, get it torn apart this much. I'd rather have just driven it for the next few months and then gone with the next level of modifications that we planned on. However, this curveball did offer me the perfect opportunity to start moving forward with the performance parts, which, hey, who doesn't want a little bit better pedal feel? And that's where these Banks parts are going to come in as well. This intercooler piping, turbo elbow, larger intercooler, and cold air intake will allow for any modifications I'm going to throw at the truck. There's going to be no starvation. In fact, I've actually read on Cummins forum, things like that even with the stock intake, you can get up to 600 horsepower of airflow. I'm not really too worried about it, but when it does come to upgrading, we're already taking apart the cooler, the intercooler, the transmission cooler, and all those different parts. Why not put a few upgraded parts in its place? So very much a thank you to Banks Power for setting me up with those parts. I do think this will just make for an overall cooler running package in general when I'm going on weekend adventures and things like that. I'm sure someone is typing out a comment right now about asking why I didn't go with injectors or a turbo. And just like the suspension setup, I kind of have a simple goal in mind. This is, again, not gonna be a drag truck. I'm not gonna be towing a toy hauler. So I just wanted a little bit more fun around town. And I truly do think, based on my past experiences, that a basic tune along with a few supporting components like a transmission that's not gonna give out on me will make for a very fun and very reliable setup. I still might go with some different lift pump modifications, some more fuel and things like that, just to, again, ensure that for the future lifespan of the truck, no weird issues pop up. However, I'm pretty confident that I'm gonna be quite stoked just with the setup that we're doing today. Now, I did also wanna mention that this was not a very concrete plan. We pulled the truck off the lift, got the suspension together, and bam, that rear main leak really started puking. So I kind of had to come up with a little bit of a solution on the fly, and that's where we are today. Now that all the parts are tossed on the truck, let's go ahead and take a ride and see what we think. All right, maiden voyage here. We're gonna go ahead and, do this the right way and break it in on the freeway. So again, Randy Stage 2 transmission with their completely oversized cooler. I think it's the heavy duty option or extreme duty option. The complete Banks under the hood package, cold air intake, intercooler pipes, turbo elbow, or not turbo elbow, intake elbow, and the whole package there. So far, extremely thrilled with just how this transmission feels. So often, I've ridden in customer trucks where you're lurching back and forth. If you had a cup in your hand, it would spill the coffee on you, things like that. All of these shifts are crisp, firm, nothing too over the top, but they let you know that there's a strong transmission in the truck. Extremely stoked there, extremely stoked with the packaging, everything we got from them. No leaks off the bat, which is a step ahead of transmissions we've even received in the past. So shout out to the guys at Randy's, again, for setting us up with that. The guys at Banks, as you can probably hear the turbo whistle, also popped the silencer ring off when going with the cold air intake. I feel like that's kind of a must on this generation. And yeah, I mean, I could not be more thrilled just with the drivability, the NRE performance tuning. She runs good. I can't say enough if you've never driven kind of a modified 5.9 or even 6.7 truck, how much more it brings alive the vehicle. Especially, going from a 23 with a 10 speed, the high output 6.7 Super Duty, you jump in a stock third gen, it definitely feels like you're in a time warp. Going with the tuning, the NRE, the Easy Link with the 5-position switch, that's been really nice. Right now we're driving on the highest setting, and it definitely brings the truck into the modern era as far as performance, whether it's pulling grades, accelerating, getting ahead of someone to pass, things like that. Can't say enough about the performance increase there. And if I did want to tow with this, I have no qualms about being able to haul what this truck's rated for and some. So one of these days we might be putting that to the test. As you can tell by my smile, completely pumped with how this setup has turned out. Again, the NRE performance tuning, the Randy Stage 2 transmission and cooler, the Banks Power intercooler, piping kit, elbow, cold air intake, just makes for a really nice driving package. I can't say it enough, we are not performance shop here. This is not going to be a 10-second truck, but I do want to have some fun on the weekends, taking my kids out, things like that. Get a little bit of fun, get a little throttle pedal into it, not do anything crazy, not black out the road, and this really is, in my opinion, perfect package for what I was looking for. Now again, these videos did go a little bit out of order because my next planned video after the suspension was going to be a little bit of a modernization, going with a more modern head unit in the truck, a little current lighting package, kind of bringing it up to what I am kind of used to with the 23 Super Duty, more light, CarPlay, just those basic features that we've all become accustomed to. So I'm hoping that'll be the next video. So stay tuned for the next video. Give this video a like if you liked it, comment down below. We'll see you guys on the next one. I guess it's like 2000. Okay, good? Yeah.